What's up, Alpha? It's your boy Alpha May, and I'm here with
Friendly neighborhood scumbag checking in. You already know what to do.
and this is Just a Fan Extra, where we give you a little bit of extra on topics that we got Just a Fan, and we do music, entertainment, blah blah blah. But this is a little extra we do on the side, so we want to give you a little bit extra. And today we want to talk about Tony Khan said, Tor, that he don't care about backstage stuff because wrestling is about wrestling, and that's all it's about. And I want to know your thoughts, because I got my thoughts on this, because Tony Khan says a lot of stuff I vehemently disagree with, and I see like problems, and we're gonna discuss it. We got a few minutes. We're gonna discuss them in this extra.
Most definitely. Tony Khan's booking, Tony Khan's thought process when it comes to wrestling in general, I don't get it sometimes. And sometimes it's cool, but trying to say that there's nothing, it's all, it sounds bad to say that it's not about wrestling, but if it was really just about the wrestling, we'd just watch Olympic wrestling. We wouldn't be watching pro wrestling. Like, the backstage has a lot to do with it. That's how you build people's characters. That's how you, perfect example, which is weird with him saying he doesn't care about it, because perfect example is this last Rampage or Dynamite they had CM Punk, just this last Dynamite last week after Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston had their match, and they went into the CM Punk segment backstage. It set the scene perfectly for CM Punk, Eddie Kingston. It didn't, and it felt real. It didn't feel staged. That's how you know Punk had something to do with it, because it didn't feel staged. It felt natural. I mean, Eddie Kingston's just that guy. He looks like a fat slob from freaking Brooklyn that got bled in the wrestling business because he's John Moxley's best friend. And I mean, that's what he is. Not to discount all of his outlaw wrestling, all the GCW shit, all the old indie stuff, not to discount any of that, but if we're going to be real about it, you're famous for being John Moxley's friend to a certain extent, and he's a cult favorite, and without that backstage interaction, in my opinion, and it hasn't been made official yet, but he'd be short one more pay-per-view match for Full Gear coming out. So he for him to say that, and then for that to happen on the show, it shows how much he may not have to do with the backstage workings, which would be the only way he could say that, because that kind of stuff is stuff that's done masterfully. You know what I mean? Like, it really puts you in the moment. It really sells you on what's going on. That's the whole point in the backstage.
That is true. By the way, wrestling is about characters. And why do you care about them? My whole thing is, we don't get Stone Cold if it was just about wrestling. We get Ringmaster. And I promise you, nobody won't ring. You don't get The Rock. You get Rocky Maivia.
Rocky Maivia.
You don't get The Undertaker. You get that guy that was in WCW that I cannot remember.
Mean Mark Callis.
Yeah, Mean Mark Callis. You don't get the Shawn Michaels that you get in DX, and the character you get the one that was in the tag team. You don't get the game Triple H. You get whatever
you get
was.
It was the hold on, wait. It was the something. It was like the Connecticut Blue Blood.
Yeah, the Blue
before
Blood.
He was terrorizing. There it is, terrorizing. You don't get the game, you get terrorizing.
You don't get the Yes movement without the cane. Without the cane, no.
Nope.
Yes, no. Without that, you don't get the Yes movement. That was the backstage segment when they met the Doctor. Your biggest star was made off that.
Think John Cena, all those times backstage, all the "you can't see me," without that, none of that. And even if because he takes so much from the WCW, even though with the whole Ted Turner comparisons, all this and all that, WCW was really built on backstage segments, for real. If you look at it, even the bad ones, David Flair and Daphne, and freaking, for all those, you have like the original starting of the NWO. Of course, that happened in the ring, but those were backstage segments. You know what I mean?
What made CM Punk a cult favorite for all the hardcore WWE haters?
Exactly.
The promo, the pipe bomb promo. which wasn't quite backstage as you said, but it was on the ramp after a match. So
it was backstage talk in front of the people.
Yeah, and my favorite things remember as a child was all backstage, from The Rock knocking Stone Cold, you son of a, off into a pool, from Undertaker kidnapping Stephanie to the Triple H and Randy Orton fight in his house.
You got Kurt Angle with his little cowboy hat and guitar with Stone Cold. Yo, you don't get Kane setting JR on fire.
Yeah. And I get some of y'all like, oh, he's not talking about that. Yes, read the whole interview.
Yes, he is.
He said we just gonna have it backstage like a little streaming place where you just go back and it can be just a random interview and a terrible looking thing that don't look serious. And I'm like, most of my favorite things in wrestling have been backstage.
That's how you get invested in professional wrestling, is the backstage segment.
Stone Cold was born off of King of the Ring. Off the 316 said I just
whipped your exactly.
It wasn't quite backstage, but that was on a ramp nowhere near the ring.
That was on a throne, wasn't it?
Yeah. After he just beat him because the guy said he's do Psalm 23. John 3:16, because he reads the Bible. He said, well, Austin 3:16 said I just.
But you miss out on so much if you leave out the backstage.
And to your point, I want to thank you for bringing up the Eddie Kingston thing, because it's the first time, I promise you, I cared about CM Punk, and he didn't. Besides when he came
bro, but that's how you know he had something to do with it, though, because I've taken the time to really look at this CM Punk run, and a lot of people are like, oh, they botched it. But if you look at the long-term storytelling, it's the story of CM Punk. He really feels like a wrestler that hasn't been in the ring for 7 years. From starting with Darby, going into Powerhouse, then even the match with Daniel Garcia. If you look at all those matches, there are little pieces in all of them that are culminating to this story. And the blow up that's finally going to give him a feud we care about was this final straw with freaking Eddie Kingston. All from it all started from a smile backstage.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Backstage. That's the first.
Backstage was the key.
Darby Allin. I didn't know that rivalry was so weird. It was like, I'm better than you. And then it went from, was it America Top Team that kept interfering? And then they just randomly stopped for no reason.
Okay. It was Ethan. It was 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, and then it was Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky before they got with American Top Team.
Yeah, it was those two.
Yeah, because they were coming off the casket match with Darby Allin and Ethan Page.
Yeah. So it was
when they went into CM Punk.
Yeah, so they randomly attacked CM Punk. We don't know why. They just did it. And then all of a sudden Sting said, no one will interfere. And then Sting like, I'm not even going to be there. And then everybody just quit. And I'm like, why is everything just randomly happen? And to prove that point,
but it was a good match. It was a good match.
It was amazing.
But it had there was no backstage to build it. It was all in the ring.
And this is my thing right now about the backstage. The quality of wrestling has been amazing lately.
Amazing. Raw last night is a testament. Like, there were only a couple, and you know me, I always got something bad to say about Raw. And I look back at that Raw last night, and I can think of maybe two or three things tops that I didn't care for in that match. And a lot of it's like little minutia, like booking and angles and stuff that I think are stupid. So the quality of wrestling, and even as far as AEW goes, because I even watch AEW's developmental stuff. I watch Dark and Dark Elevation and everything in between. I'm a wrestling nerd through and through. I watch it all. But without the backstage, none of it matters in my opinion. None of it. It's not. I was gonna say you might as well just be watching like Olympic wrestling if you're not gonna have the backstage banner, if you're not gonna have the interviews and the promo accentuation. And I'm all about seeing amazing technical wrestling in the ring, but I'm also all about there being an entertaining story accompanying that.
Yeah.
And
Finn Balor versus Chad Gable was amazing. Damian Priest versus
it was an amazing in-ring match. Amazing. I mean, and as far as the stories go on Raw, I don't care for a lot of them. But this little triangle that we've got going between Big E, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins could be something amazing. Even if hopefully it doesn't result in a sloppy triple threat match. That is not what I'm hoping for here. But all three of those men are amazing characters, and they're amazing wrestlers. And like the whole before Big E hit him with the big ending, because like it had the callbacks, like me and you talked about the Mount Rushmore reference that had to go over Vince's head, or fucking he just don't care because Big E said, we gotta get out of here. This ain't Mount Rushmore. And then the whole Kevin Owens, whether I'm here for 3 months or 3 years, and his contract's reportedly up in January, which is 3 months from now. You know what I mean? It's all of that encompasses. If you didn't have the backstage segment right there before that Big E Kevin match happened, if you didn't have that backstage segment where Seth Rollins came and was like, we can team up on this, and after I beat Big E, you get the first shot. You know what I mean? If you didn't have that match doesn't mean as much. And then the ending don't mean as much.
The ending don't mean as much. Big
exactly.
E
Big E not trusting Kevin Owens, because I mean, let's be honest, who hasn't Kevin Owens fucked over in the WWE?
And don't remember, Kevin
Owens
Owens screwed over Big E on when he was on SmackDown about 2 or 3 years ago.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Yep, I was about to say mid Kofi Mania when he was when he was part of the New Day, and you know what I mean? When they first got split up, and he was sort of trying to fill the spot of the heavy, and then only to turn on him. But think about how much that helped. That gave Kofi that minute to build before it gave him that feud to build on before he took on freaking whoever. That's messed up. I can't even remember who was champ at the time.
Daniel Bryan.
A Kofi Mania, because
Daniel Bryan.
What? I don't think it was Daniel Bryan. I feel like it was somebody bigger. But I mean, bigger stature-wise, it's hard to be bigger than Daniel Bryan.
But he beat Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Were you talking about somebody else?
Yeah.
Oh, before that.
See, they marred it because all I remember from Kofi Mania now is it ending in 26 seconds from an F5.
Bianca and
it was Kobe 7 seconds. It wasn't even 26 seconds is how long it took Bianca. That's another gripe I have from Raw, man. What are we doing with Bianca Belair?
They doing that stupid thing that Vince always do. You gotta want it, but she finally overcame.
I thought that until that segment where Liv Morgan showed up and stared her down. You know what I mean? If that's setting up Becky and Liv, where does that put Bianca? Because Liv Morgan's somebody that's been on the underneath that the crowd has been wanting to see get that push. Is Bianca Belair about to be another wasted NXT star?
I doubt it. She putting on, even though she don't get
her
clean,
I'm saying if you
her and Daniel Bryan is actually separating themselves in matches because it's continually. It's like right now Bianca on that 2018 Charlotte run in terms of matches,
but not really though, because the thing is. I was about to say Charlotte was always eking out the win in the end, though. Charlotte was always it was and the story of the match was her being she's Ric Flair's daughter, you know what I mean? And where Bianca's had this underdog role and she got the belt, it just sort of she got the belt, she held it for 100 and something days, and it sort of, I hate to say it, but it feels like Becky came back and they were like, okay. We've got Becky again. We've got Charlotte again. Sasha's back from goddamn Star Wars land. Bayley's on the mend. Maybe there's not no. Maybe it's a big 3 instead of a 4 horsewomen right now. And like I said, if it is going to be a 4 horsewomen, is Liv Morgan that new horsewoman? Because she's, regardless of what anybody says, Liv Morgan's a fan favorite, bro. She's over. She's undercard over.
Yeah, she is. She's very much over. Before we get off with this extra, let's quickly talk because we had 14 minutes. We want to get off of it. John Moxley, what did John Moxley say to her before we get off?
Okay. The foreword of his book or somewhere, because they got the leak chapters. This man talks about smoking crack, and if that's not the most John Moxley thing ever, I'm gonna read this book. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I think it comes out. It either came out today or it comes out tomorrow. I'm gonna read it. Probably not by legal means. Definitely off of some illegal streaming platform. I'm not finna go to Barnes & Noble or Books A Million and pay for John Moxley's crack habit. But
I might buy you the book.
I want to read about him smoking crack before getting stabbed in the head with a fork. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, and I feel like right now in the wrestling world, there's not too many people getting away with openly admitting they're smoking crack, but Jon Moxley, maybe Eddie. If Eddie Kingston said that he had smoked crack before, I'd believe that. But
John, they said
I think it's going to be an interesting.
So they bleed. So I don't know.
Yeah. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston are a pair. They're outlaw wrestling led into the mainstream for real, and I'm okay with that as long as not everyone's doing it. In my opinion, there's only room for one, maybe two people that look like plumbers that just beat people. And don't get me wrong, I understand the technique that comes with Eddie's All Japan background, working style, his love of exploder suplexes and the machine gun weird looking chops. But yeah, I thought that was real interesting that one of the highest paid wrestlers in the world, last year he was number 1 on PWI. This year was Kenny Omega at number 1, Roman Reigns at number 2. That's still a gripe I have, even though I see the point being made. But I just thought it was real interesting the fact that he wrote this book and was like, "Yeah, I smoke crack." I mean, come on, that doesn't. It's so surprising it doesn't surprise you.
And by the way, before we get off, I want to know that Adam Cole, one of my favorite wrestlers, and I promise you, I could care less about what he's doing right now. AEW, and it probably
bro, miss me with this Ghostbusters. See, don't get me started, because, bruh, Adam Page and the Stay Puft Marshmallow, you're about to put the championship belt on this motherfucker. And yeah. What? When you go through the package of his struggle, are you going to show the moment where he popped up as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
Yeah, I do not care for nothing Adam Cole's doing right now, and that's part of the problem.
It's such a waste.
The only thing I remember, he had a good match with Jungle Boy, and it was just a random match out of nowhere with no build up. He was just, hey, he knew when he want to fight you, and I'm like, okay. And then they didn't follow.
Like
up.
I said, I'm hoping they're gonna bring in trios titles, and that'll get, because Adam Cole can work matches with the Young Bucks, and they have a really good dynamic. You can look all the way back to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and Mount Rushmore with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks and Kevin Steen. They've held 6-man gold before. They can work a story. And I'm hoping that's what this is all leading to. Maybe if we're gonna put the belt on Hangman Page, oh my God, that's so stupid. After all this booking, we're gonna put the belt on the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Maybe it leads to a story where Adam Cole breaks away from the Elite, or they get these 6-man titles in there. Because I agree, I'm not interested in anything Adam Cole's doing.
And by the way, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. So
of all time,
yeah,
like for real, I can honestly say,
I'm like, bro, he ain't got no story. He just running around doing random.
He's literally, they turned him into one of the boys. He was big for one night. He was a big thing when he first came in, and then 3 weeks later, he's just another member of the Elite.
Yeah. And Daniel Bryan don't really have a story, but his story is kind of, I just want to almost die in every match.
Yeah,
so it's kind of a
his story is literally I'm here to kick people's heads in.
And they trying to murder me and make my chest bleed every time they slap me. So
every match it's chopped up. I noticed that too. And Eddie Kingston's the worst about it, because like I said, them weird little chops he be throwing, they do some damage.
Yeah.
But Daniel Bryan is just trying to get as close to being beat to death as he possibly can.
And he actually, in his interviews, says that a lot. So we know his story.
Yeah.
So his story is, I'm trying to go out here and have the most hardcore, roughest matches I can.
That's why him and Jon Moxley in the finals, because I'm going to call it now. Because I hate to say it, don't nobody want to see Orange Cassidy versus Bryan Danielson.
Yo, by the way, Orange Cassidy is one of my favorite people, and I feel like with all these new people, he's kind of getting lost in the shuffle, and I don't like that.
Well, but the thing is, Orange Cassidy is one of them wrestlers. He don't need a belt. He doesn't need one.
I need him on TV more. That's what I want. All right, we gotta get out of here. This is Just a Fan Extra. We finished the other Just a Fan. We're gonna try to keep it under 15 minutes next time, but we got it 19 minutes. And we love y'all. Peace.